So, what you doing, brother? Scissor, whatever. My bad. How are you? We're just chilling today. Figured I'd come on live for a little bit, say what's up. Wasn't feeling good this morning, so it took me a little longer to get on live today. Just chilling. Figured I'd come on, like I said, come on, say what's up, see what everybody was doing. Bullshit with you guys for a minute. Um, I should have been on live earlier, but I wasn't feeling good this morning, so I'm feeling a lot better though. I slept until 1 o'clock, so some lady bringing donations. Sorry about that. I was looking over it, see what this lady was doing. I didn't get to go out today because I didn't even go to class this morning because I wasn't feeling good, but still kind of got a headache, but I'm doing all right. I'm just chilling. Anybody that's new to the channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll tell you guys what this channel is about. It's about a lot of it's about recovery, learning how to change your mindset, um, learning to work through things that aren't easy to work through, like losing people in your life, or like me, I was born with a disability. I lost my leg. I was a drug addict. I'm a recovering drug addict, I should say. Um, I was that way for since I was 13 is when I first started doing drugs. I started as a pill addict and a drinker, and then when I was 21, I started using meth. I was doing all this with my brother Andy. Anybody that doesn't know me, my name's Scottie. Um, and one thing I will say about this channel all the time is I'm never gonna lie to you guys. I'm never gonna um, not tell you guys the full truth. Leo and Stitch, what's up? Thank you for coming in. Everybody, please like the live and follow. Um, my name is Scottie. I was a drug addict. None of it was good. I was a pill addict at first, and then I became a meth addict when I was 21. I ended up losing my leg at 24 because of meth. Um, now I've been sober for 2 years. I've turned myself into rehab twice. I already did rehab. I've been sober for 2 months or 2 years, 2.5 years actually. So I did do rehab twice. I've done it twice in my life. I've been to jail a lot of times in my life. So I've had a lot of times when I've gotten sober against my will, but then the 2 times that I've turned myself into rehab, I did on my own will. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that because it has been a long road of trying to be so or learning how to live sober and do things differently. Um, I just still do I do drug and alcohol classes every single day of my life. I do it from 8:30 in the morning till about 11:30 at night. I mean 11:30. Sorry, that was wrong. 11:30 or 8:30 in the morning till 11:30 in the afternoon. So I still do my drug and alcohol classes. I still work a job. I do this YouTube stuff. to try to save other people from drug addiction or depression or suicide. Because I know a lot of people, they when they get into their depression modes, they start thinking about suicide, and so that's a lot of why I'm here, is to try to help people stay away from that kind of mindset of thinking that it would be better off dead. You'd be better off dead, because that's just not the case. Um, it does take a lot to change your mindset. One thing I tell people all the time is one way to change. Have you tried starting a group in your town to talk about it? I go to, like I said, I go to drug and alcohol rehab. Drug and alcohol classes every day. So I do talk about these things, but I'm able to reach more people on YouTube when it comes down to it, because there's a lot more people on YouTube that don't know me that I can reach out to and talk about my drug addiction and talk about the things that I've been through, that are able to, that otherwise might not be able to find a group or might not know how to find a group to get help. So I come on YouTube here and I talk to people through it. My favorite color is actually green, but also anybody that's wondering, this is my merch. I make this, and on the back it says, "If you believe in yourself, anything is possible." Because I believe that is true. I believe if you take the time to believe in yourself and don't ever believe any of the bad things people say to you, because you're going to get a lot of hate throughout your life, regardless of what you do in your life. There's going to be people that hate on you. There's going to be people that talk bad on you. And number one thing is, you can't ever let people get that on you. And yeah, so I know a guy here that his favorite thing is backwards or forwards forever, backwards never. Meaning, never look back at your past and always pay attention or look forward to your future. Another good motto, or another good saying, I guess it would be, that a buddy of mine once told me is, you know, there's a reason why your rear view mirror in your car is so small and the front windshield is so big. It's because you're supposed to pay attention to the big windshield in front of you instead of the little mirror that shows behind you. And the reason for that being is, if you spend your whole life paying attention to your past and beating yourself up for your past, you're not going to have a good future. You're going to be stuck in the past instead of worrying about what you got to do to keep moving forward, keep pushing forward, and keep changing your life for the better. Because in all reality, your past doesn't define you. It doesn't make you who you are. Your right now is what makes you who you are. Thank you guys for the likes on the live. I appreciate that. Anybody coming in, please subscribe and like the channel. If you are a person that needs recovery, or you need somebody to talk to about whatever you're going through throughout your day, like, that's what I'm here for. What's up, Circuit? Thank you for coming in, brother. Um, Also, again, I'm going to say this. All of December, or November and December, I'm going to be doing giveaways, um, of merch, whether it be a hoodie, whether it be a hat, because I do sell hats. I sell hats, shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, um, all kinds of stuff. So for the holiday seasons, I'm going to be doing giveaways. That way, some people can wear my merch. I also sell my merch, but right now I'm just working on getting my merch out to people. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And I already have a few people picked out to get some merch. Yeah, that's what this is right here. That's my original. And the cool thing about this is, like, right here on the side, it shows a couple of my YouTube subscribers. Like, it shows a little bubble that shows a couple of my original subscribers. So I'm gonna, like I said, during the holiday season, I will be giving some stuff away just to get because I want to give back to the community because we are almost up over. We're pretty close to 2,000 subscribers. We're at almost 1,800 right now, so we have about 200 to go, and then we'll be up over 2,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Um, I didn't realize how quickly I would start growing. I mean, I've been doing this for about 5 months, and I almost have over 2,000 subscribers. I have almost over 200. Sorry, I have over 460,000 views on my YouTube, which is amazing. Um, but I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys my story from the beginning, just so you guys kind of understand it a little bit more. So first of all, my name is Scottie Cully. I was born and raised in a little small town called Baker City, Oregon. Um, I was born with a disability called spina bifida. What that is it's a degenerative disease where my spine was messed up when I was born. My legs were messed up when I was born; they were backwards. So the first year or so of my life, I had to do surgeries to correct um, these issues. Um, Obviously, they couldn't correct it all the way. They just straightened out my legs a little better, and so I could walk and do what I needed to do. Um, I was bullied and messed with as a kid growing up, so I dealt with a lot of depression. I dealt with feeling like I was a freak and like I wasn't good enough to be around people. Um, so I was a very stay by myself kind of kid. I had maybe two friends growing up until I hit middle school. These kids that I hung out with were outcasts just like me. Um, when I grew up and I got into middle school, I found some friends that, they were more about defending me and having my back, and, they wouldn't let people bully me or mess with me. Um, and that was that was when I found drugs, which is when I was 13 years old, when I got into middle school. Um, I started doing pills like pain pills. I started drinking a lot, smoking weed, um, chewing tobacco, doing a lot of bad stuff. And I continued doing doing pills all the way up until I was 21. And I was doing these pills and stuff with my brother, my older brother. And he did it not. He didn't try to give them to me for a bad reason. He tried to give me the pills to help my spina bifida because to help the pain. Um, So I continued using pills and smoking weed and drinking up until I turned 21. And then came the time where I found my brother smoking meth up in his bedroom. And I walked up on him and asked him what he was doing. Um, Asked him to try whatever it was that he was doing. He told me no. Well, I knew that the guy downstairs was already doing drugs. So I went down and I asked him, and he did because he didn't want me to go out there and try to do it with somebody else. Because if I would have, because at least I could trust those guys. What's up? What's up, Elsie? Thank you for the likes on the live. I appreciate you guys. Um, so yeah, I started smoking meth when I was 21, and I did that up until I was 24, I believe, and that was when I got the septic infection in my leg. I continued smoking dope. Um, But so what happened was I got a rock in the bottom of my foot, and I was refusing to go to the hospital because I didn't want to. Because where I'm from, if you have warrants for your arrest and you go to the hospital, they will turn you in. And so I was scared that I had warrants for my arrest. I didn't want to go to jail. I wasn't really scared. I just didn't want to go to jail because I had been in jail so many freaking times before that. So I refused to go to the hospital. I didn't tell my mom or dad about the fact that I had a hole in my foot or that it was getting worse or anything. Um, and then I was working this job at this place called the Oregon Trail back in Oregon, obviously, and my infection got so bad that one day I was standing at work and I couldn't. They knew so they know you have. What they do is if you have warrants, they'll run your name. Like they automatically run your name for to see if you have warrants for your arrest. So they didn't automatically know I had warrants, but where I'm from is like if they know you have a criminal record or if they know about you because my name was in the paper a lot. I had a lot of um, mug shots and stuff in the paper. I know the sirens came out of nowhere. It was kind of ironic. Sorry, I had to drink some water. Um, but so I refused to go to the hospital because I thought I had warrants. Um, well, my leg got so bad that I couldn't stand on it, and so I was at work one day and I fell down, and then I tried to get back up. I fell again. My boss came running out. I told him to call my mom or to give me my phone so I could call my mom. And so I called my mom. I told her I needed to go to the hospital. They ran me on antibiotics for about 6 months, um, which the antibiotics were not working. They were building up in the back of my leg. And so one day I was in the bathroom at my house and I grabbed the back of my leg and it kind of felt like jello. And when I squeezed the leg, all the antibiotics that were all the antibiotics that were building up kind of came out of my leg. And so I had to go back to the hospital. Well, that night when I went back to the hospital, they told me that night you have a choice of either you're gonna lose your leg, or you're gonna lose your life. Obviously, I made the choice of I'm gonna lose my leg. I'm not gonna die because I am a drug addict. I mean, and I have this infection. I'm just not. I wasn't willing to die at that point. I had been suicidal many years before that, but at that point, it was like life checked me and was like, either you stop doing what you're doing, or you're gonna die. It's your choice, kind of. Um, so I chose to give up the leg, and I lost the leg. I had to learn how to walk again. I was on a walker for about 4 months of walking on a walker. I couldn't go back to work. Um, and then I went finally got my prosthetic leg. I think I already showed you guys my prosthetic leg. If you want to see the prosthetic, let me know and I'll show you guys the prosthetic leg. But so after I got dealt with that infection and they cut my leg off and all that, um, I stayed sober for a few years, and then my boss hired this tweaker, drug dealer, fucking guy to at my work, and this guy asked me if I wanted some drugs. Well, at the time, I didn't. I thought maybe that if I could do drugs and not go full force back into drug addiction, I thought maybe I would have that chance and I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't turn bad again. Well, I was wrong, and I ended up doing drugs again for it was probably about a year that I did drugs again. Um, and then I ended up getting an infection on the other side in a different spot, and so I ended up getting sick again. And luckily, that time they were able to fight off the infection, and I was able to keep my other leg, and I was good. Um, but then it got so bad with the drugs that my boss had to fire me. And no, you're good, Elsie. You're good, Elsie. He was just warning everybody that if anybody's in here, that No, I don't have to charge my. It's not like a. It's not a. I'll just show you guys again. This is a weird prosthetic that it's kind of interesting, but so this is my prosthetic leg. It's just a the little knob on the back is to basically make sure that it holds on tight. So I have to twist it like when I put my leg in, it clamps down on my leg so it will stay on the right way. Um, but so um, when I after I did the antibiotics and I was no, there's no moving parts on it or nothing. There's no it's so what happened was I lost about it's about this much under my knee, so I got to keep my knee. I didn't lose my knee. I lost below my knee. Um, so I was able to learn how to walk again pretty easy. Um, it took me probably a month or two to learn how to walk again. I didn't go to rehabilitation for the learning how to walk again, which they wanted me to do. But I didn't want to spend every day of my life in the hospital like I had been for the 6 months before that. Because if you don't know about when you get an infection, when you get that, when they start putting antibiotics in you, you have to go to the hospital every single day at like 6 or 7 in the morning, and you have to sit there and get antibiotics every single day. So I had to sit in a hospital every single day getting antibiotics. I mean, I could go home after I got the antibiotics, obviously, but I didn't want to go do that again. I didn't want to end up dying. I didn't want to do that. So after I relapsed and I got the second infection, I still did drugs. My boss kicked me out of the hotel that I was living in because he owned the motel and the restaurant where I worked. Well, he didn't want to keep giving me drugs. I mean, giving me money to get drugs. So he fired me. Um, I ended up living on the street for about 2 months. My mom was bringing me food. A couple of friends were giving me money to get food. Um, at that point, I had stopped using drugs because I was on the street and I didn't have money to get drugs, obviously. Um, so I ended up going to a rehab, asking them for help. They denied me because my mom worked at the rehab, and also because um, I had already had 3 days sober. They wouldn't they wouldn't let me in because my system was sober. So I made the decision I was going to go get drugs and I was going to go get high. So as I'm walking down the street and I'm getting ready to go get these drugs so I can get high and so I can turn myself into rehab. And I know that's a stupid decision and I know it doesn't really make much sense, but it's the only thing I could think of that was going to work. Um, so I went to go get drugs. As I'm walking down this pathway to go, I was headed to go use these drugs. Out of nowhere, I got this call from a rehab, or no, I got a call from my mom telling me that this place in Ontario, Oregon, had a spot open for me, and they were going to let me come and do rehab. Um, so I went to rehab. I graduated rehab on October 12th, my birthday of 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, about. Um, and then I moved to a sober home in Ontario, Oregon, and I was not able to walk to my classes because of I have a prosthetic and I have a bad leg on the other side. Um, so I ended up getting kicked out of the sober home, and they, which ended me where I am now. If you guys don't know where I am now, I live in Boise, Idaho. I am in a homeless shelter. I'm sober. I'm still 2.5 years sober. I do drug and alcohol classes every day. I actually haven't smoked weed in about 2 months now. Um, and it's not that I have a problem with smoking weed or anything like that. It's the fact that I had a job coming up, and so I wanted to be sober for this job, and I wanted to do because they talked about how they would do drug testing. So I stayed sober to get this job, and to be honest, it just it's not that important for me to smoke weed anymore. To be honest, um, and I've been doing fine without it. So I've kind of just made the decision to stay sober and forget the weed and forget all of it. I mean, I still smoke vapes, which isn't great for you, but I'm not doing drugs anymore. Like I said, I haven't done drugs in over 2.5 years. Thank you, LC. I appreciate that. I also got my name. If you guys want to check it out, and you can look up my name, Scottie Cully, on Google, and my name will come up, and it'll show a story from Interfaith Sanctuary, and you can read my story. Thank you, Circuit. I appreciate that. Um, but you can read my story in that paper. It goes into more detail, kind of about my story. Um, I could also, if you're on my Discord, Life on Two Wheels, if you sub to my Discord, um, I did share my story, or I shared that story in the paper on my Discord. Also, you guys can add me on Facebook. You can add me on Instagram. Whatever you guys want to do, you can. It's just Scottie Cully. It's STOTTIECULLEY. So you can add me on Facebook if you want to be on my Facebook. I have no problem with that. Me and LC are friends on Facebook. Um, but so now like I said, I live in a homeless shelter out here in Boise, Idaho. I do recovery classes every day. Um, I go to work 3 times a week. I only work the weekends because I have disability, not a disability. Obviously, yes, I have a disability, but I get disability income. I believe so. Yeah, I think I'm in all your Discord stuff actually. Yeah, I'm working on right now. Actually, I'm getting it's a room for rent in a house. Um, but I got to go check these places out. Oh, on Messenger. I think so. Yeah, actually, I am. I believe I am. That's the one. Yeah, actually, yes, I am. That's the one where you guys send the voice messages and stuff on Facebook. But yeah, I am looking for a. I'm getting working on getting a house with some other people. It's a room for rent, which means I just rent a room in these people's house. Um, so that way I can go and I can live there and not have to live here in the shelter anymore. Um, I'm also working on some new stuff here on YouTube. Like I said, I have the Discord, and then I also have a Patreon. The Patreon, what that's going to be basically about, it's going to be like behind the scene pictures and videos that you wouldn't get to see on YouTube. You wouldn't get to see them on Discord, but Patreon, you would be able to see them because that's the only place I'm going to post these behind the scenes stuff. It's going to be on Patreon only. Um, so if you want to join my Patreon, I posted that there too. Yeah, I'm sitting there going like this. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. I actually want to get my mugshots from when I was doing drugs and when I was bad. That way, you guys can see how different I look. Like the way I look now is completely different than what it used to look like. That's another thing I'm going to start doing. We're going to start having people here at the shelter share their story on my YouTube. That way, you guys can see that. That might actually be some of the behind the scenes stuff too. We'll see. I might start posting the interviews and stuff like that on my Patreon. Like that way, people can see the behind the scenes stuff of what we do. Yeah, see, I never had to deal with that. I was in where I'm from. It's called Baker City. They have Baker City's Most Wanted. I was on there for a while because I would break into people's houses. I would steal bikes. I would vandalize places like with spray paint. Um, this is actually a crazy story. There was one time when I was so high on drugs that I spray painted the back of this building, and right now I don't know how much it costs. I think it's like $10 or something. Yeah, I was on the Baker City's Most Wanted for a whole year before I finally turned myself in. What happened was I was riding down the street and I happened to see a cop while I was so high on drugs that I was tired of running and I was tired of getting away from having to run from cops all the time, having to look over my shoulder all the time. So I ended up sliding my bike in front of a cop car and putting my bike down and telling him, "All right, bro, like I was a smart ass back then. What I told him is, you didn't get me. I turned myself in." And I said, "I want you to realize that like you couldn't catch me. I turned myself in." That's kind of how I was. I just gave up. I didn't care. I was tired of fucking running. I was tired of, like I said, looking over my shoulder all the time. So I just kind of turned myself in because I was tired of it. Um, and which cost me. I mean, I ended up doing jail time for 6 months or something like it was like 6 months. And then, unbeknownst to me, when I was in jail, they put because I lived in before I went to jail. I lived in what's called the trap house, which is a trap house is where you sell a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs are sold out of it. A lot of people are in the house doing drugs. Um, that's what a trap house is, if you don't know. So I owned a trap house, and I didn't like own the house itself, but me and my buddies were renting this house. Um, I had 10 felons living with me, um, and so we ended up getting evicted from the house. I did not know this, and everybody was still hanging out at the house at the time, so I didn't know we were evicted. I got out of jail. I went to go back to the house to go to sleep because I had just gotten out of jail and I was tired. I wanted to go to sleep. It was pretty crazy. We were constantly breaking the law. Like I said, we had 10 felons living in the house. We were the most wanted people in Baker County at that time. We were all on the most wanted list. The cops were looking for us constantly. We carried pistols around. We stole bikes. We robbed people's houses. We sold a shit ton of drugs. And I'm not proud of those things or anything. It's not me talking about this. Is not me like war storying or being proud of this because I'm not in any way proud of it. Um, but we did what we did to survive at that time. But anyways, when I got out of the jail, I went back to the house, um, and the cops showed up to search the house while I was sleeping in the house, and I had a pistol underneath the couch where I was sleeping. Well, they came in. I woke up with two pistols pointed at my face, two cops pointing guns at me. And I woke up and was like, what the fuck's going on right now? Why are you guys pointing guns at me? Well, like I said, there had been an eviction that I didn't know about. So they arrested me. I had a gun. So they took me back to jail for another 6 months. So I was out for less than 24 hours, got put back in jail for another 6 months. So I did almost a full year in jail. Um, like I said, I had 1 day off or 1 day out um, when they took me back to jail. Um, this was in between the time that I was still doing drugs pretty bad. Yeah, it was crazy for me to, like I said, I had went back to jail because I had a pistol. It was mostly because I had the pistol, and it was because I was in a house that unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this, but I wasn't supposed to be in the house. Um, so they arrested me, took me back to jail for 6 months. That obviously did not stop me from doing drugs. I came back out. I went full force back into the drug addiction. We ended up getting, none of us were living together at that time. Um, I got my buddies that I lived with in the house, they got told that they could stay because the dude's parents that owned the house, he was living with us. Well, these guys were giving him drugs. Well, because I got arrested, they kicked me out of the house because they didn't want the cops to come looking for me and to bust all of them again. Yes, he. If they would have caught me, like if I would have been holding the pistol or would have had it literally like directly on me, I would have done way more time. But the pistol was underneath the couch where I was sleeping, so they couldn't technically get me for possession of a weapon, but they got me for being in the vicinity of a weapon. So yeah, they got me again for that. Um, they got me for being in. Yeah, I did get lucky because I could have spent. They could have got me for 2 years on that charge if I would have had the pistol on my person. Um, and then in between that time, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my crime spree. I'm going to call it a crime spree because it was pretty crazy. Um, I stole myself, me and my one other friend had stolen over 200 bikes. So But the thing is, they couldn't prove any of the bikes were stolen because we were smart enough to get rid of VIN numbers on every single bike that we had. Um, so when they busted me in that house, they found all those bikes, but they couldn't charge us with them because they didn't have proof that they were stolen because they had no VIN numbers or anything on them. What would have happened if they would have got me with that is each stolen bike would have been a year in prison, and so 200. I would have had 200 counts of theft, and it would have been 200 years in prison just for stealing bikes. What they ended up catching me on after that, after I got out of jail for evading, I got arrested at that time for evading police. I got out, and this kid that I knew was selling or was spray painting on the back of buildings. He was spray painting gang stuff on the back of these buildings, even though he was not affiliated with the gang. Well, I didn't want. They basically told me if I didn't, it was either that kid was going to die or somebody was going to go take care of the spray paint and get rid of it. So I went out and I was spray painting over this stuff. Um, and this will make you laugh, kind of. I was so high on drugs at that time that I went out there and what I spray painted over the top of it, I was trying to spell ride or die on the back of it. Well, what I actually spelt was rid or die. So when I went into jail and they were talking to me, and they were telling me what I did. Like obviously, I knew what I did. I spray painted the back of the building, but I spelled rid or die. Doing this, not being able to do anything. I had 3 on meth, pink fairy, coke, full addictions, and roughly 7 at the same time. Yeah, and that's one thing is like I want people to understand like if you're a parent as a and if you're a parent and you have kids that are drug addicts, one thing I people need to realize is like you are just because you're that kid's parent does not make you at fault for that kid being a drug addict. It is not your fault that that person chose to do drugs. There's not anything you can do about those kids doing drugs except for be there for them. Um, there was 4 of us in my family on all boys, and that's. But one thing I want everybody to realize, like, if you have friends that are drug addicts, if you have family members that are drug addicts, um, it's not your fault that they are drug addicts. It's never your fault. My mom sat around and all on heroin. That's I'm sorry to hear that. My mom, when I was a drug addict, used to tell me all the time or ask me all the time, "What did I do wrong to make you guys do drugs?" And that always hit me hard because I knew at the end of the day it was never my parents' fault. My parents were never at fault for me doing drugs. My parents had no control over me doing drugs. They couldn't have stopped me doing drugs. It was my decision to keep doing drugs. And yes, drug addiction isn't it's a disease. It becomes a disease. Um, so it was my fault at first for doing drugs because I chose to do drugs. But then it became a disease in my life to where I couldn't stop it until I could figure obviously until I figured out how to stop it, which was turning myself in, getting help, and doing what I had to do. See, that's another thing we talk about a lot on this channel is like people who lose family members to drug addiction or, suicide or any of those things. A lot of people sit there and they try to think of like what could I have done different to save that person's life? And you could not have done anything different because at the end of the day, you just being there for them is all you can do as a person. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop somebody's drug addiction. Um, no matter what you do, that person is the one that has to make that decision to either get sober or not. Um, my parents, my mom and dad, they tried to, like, my dad wasn't so bad about it. My mom always put this thing on herself saying, "What did I do to make you guys drug addicts? What did we do wrong as parents to make you guys drug addicts?" And at the end of the day, they didn't do anything. They could have never stopped me from being a drug addict. They could have never changed the fact that I was a drug addict. Just like none of you guys can do anything about people in your life being drug addicts. You can be there to support them and have their back and talk to them and let them know that what they're doing is hurting you. Like, because that's one thing I will say. If you have drug addicts in your life, telling them what they're doing is hurting you is going to make a difference. It's going to make them realize what they're doing wrong. It's going to make them realize that they're not just hurting themselves, that they are hurting other people around them. Um, which is a lot of what helped me get sober was knowing that I was hurting my mom, knowing that I was a disappointment to my mom and dad, knowing that I was doing nothing with my life to be proud of. That is a lot of what changed my life. But at the end of the day, like, even if I didn't stop doing that, my parents could have never done anything about it. Like, they had no choice in me being a drug addict. Um, and yes, condolences to you on that loss. I am sorry. Um, but at the end of the day, you being sober is what matters. You staying sober is what matters. Um, and like, if you are somebody who struggles with depression or you uh, suffer from thoughts of suicide or any of those things. That's what this channel is about. We want to be able to reach people and help other people and save other people. So if you know people that fight through drug addiction or any of suicidal thoughts or depression or any of those things, please share this channel to them. Share this channel and this mission that we have to those people so that maybe we can help them change that. And I'm glad that we met for that reason, LC, because like I remember you telling me that you how you felt that it was your fault throughout their drug addiction, and I don't want you to ever feel like that because it's not. It's never the parent's fault that a kid is a drug addict. Unless that parent is giving that kid drugs, it is never their fault. Just like as a brother or sister, watching your brother or sister go through drug addiction, like it's not your fault that person is a drug addict. And there's nothing you can do about it except for be there and have their back. No, and that was the thing. It does take a lot for somebody to get it through their head that like you need to stop doing what you're doing. Um, and like one thing I will say is like when I lost my leg, that was life checking me. That was life teaching me a lesson of like you are either gonna stop doing what you're doing or you're gonna die. And so I don't regret losing my leg. I do not regret the fact that I had to lose my leg because it was what changed my life. It was what saved my life. Um, and as ignorant as that sounds, and as weird as that sounds, like that is the God's honest truth of if I would not have lost that leg when I did, I would have kept doing drugs just as hard as I was before. Um, but also hearing my mom's side of things and my dad's side of things of what I was doing to hurt them, and like seeing my mom cry and seeing my mom through a jail cell and seeing my mom come see me in rehabs and my mom seeing me on the streets, that was the final click in my life that was like, okay, you need to stop doing what you're doing or else you're gonna die. Um, so I mean, I do not regret anything that I've been through. I do not feel bad. I mean, I don't have pity towards myself through anything what I've been through. I don't want pity through from anybody else because of what I went through because like that's not what it's about. That's not what my life is about. My life is about being able to make a difference and help other people. So, like I said, anybody that, I don't want you guys on here to feel bad for me for anything that I went through because I deserved what I went through. I earned that in my life to go through bad things because I couldn't stop doing what I was doing. So it's one of those things that in the long run, I'm glad that I went through what I went through. Um, I'm not glad that anybody else has to go through it. Um, because that's a lot of what this channel is about. It's about trying to save other people from what they're going through. Because I don't want to see other people go down the same road I went down because that's not okay. It's not right to have that happen. It's not right to go through that life of feeling like you're gonna die every day because you're a drug addict. Like that sucks. It sucks to have to live that way. It sucks to be scared every day that you're gonna die. It sucks to know that you put that pain on your family. It doesn't, like, because it's not just my mom and dad that I put that pain on. I put that pain on my sister. I put that pain on my nephews and nieces because my nephews and nieces now are at an age that they understand the drug addiction. They understand what I was doing. I've never lied to my nephews and nieces about my drug addiction. I would never lie to them about it, just like I'll never lie to you guys about it. Because the way I see it is building this community of people who can come out and get help from me and talk to me and get the support from me. Um, The only way you guys are going to trust me is if I'm 100% honest with you guys 100% of the time. Um, so it's just like if I'm going through something on some day, I'm having a bad day, I'm never going to lie to you guys about that. I'm never going to tell you, oh, everything's great and I'm doing great. I'm going to be honest with you guys and I'm going to tell you the truth. Um, because if I don't do that, then you guys can't trust me. You guys aren't going to be able to trust me if I'm not honest with you guys. Um, so, any questions you guys ever want to ask me about my life, you can go ahead and do that. I will be 100% honest with you guys. I will never lie to you guys, um, ever. And that means ever. It doesn't matter. Any question you have to ask me, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, just because that's just how it needs to be. Um, it's just like me fighting through the drug addiction and everything that I fought through. Like, I'm going to tell you guys that because why lie? Why not tell you guys the truth? But I'm going to get off here in here just a few minutes. I'll wait until we have about 9 minutes left. So if you guys want to ask questions or anything like that, you can ask me questions, or we can just sit here and talk for the next 9 minutes about whatever. But I want you guys to know that I love and appreciate all you guys, all your support, all your love on this channel, all the respect on this channel. You're good. You're good. I understand that it's late where you're at, so I just wanted to come on here and kind of have a conversation with you guys for about an hour and just get through things and talk about it, because I feel like being honest with you guys is the thing that's going to be the deciding factor on whether you guys stick with me through this journey or not. Um, like I said, we don't always do just serious stuff on this channel. We do ghost hunting stuff. We do abandoned building stuff on this channel. We joke. We talk about stuff. We chop it up. We do whatever. Um, like this channel is not always just about being 100% serious and talking about drug addiction and talking about depression and talking about all that shit. Sometimes it's about, oh, it's 7 a.m. there. So it's early in the morning there. But yeah, so there's always going to be times like if we want to come on here and you guys just want to talk about stuff or whatever, like we can do that. I never have a problem with that. I don't want this channel just to be strictly about me telling my story and talking about what I go through and all that stuff. I want you guys to be able to talk about what you go through. I want you guys to be able to come out, hang out with me, bullshit with me, make jokes, talk and laugh and have fun. Um, because being serious all the time is just not where it's at. Sometimes you got to have fun and joke, and you know sometimes we got to have fun. But that's why I add like the haunted videos, the graveyard videos, all those things we add onto this channel because I want to actually have fun on this channel too. Yeah, I have to. Sometimes I have to. I can't always be serious on this channel because if I do, then it gets boring. It becomes the same thing every day. Um, and I don't want it to be like that. I don't want this channel to get boring. I don't want it to be the same thing every day, always talking about what I go through, because you guys already know what I mean. I like today. I told you guys what I've been through. I told you guys. I mean, I could go more in detail about what I've been through, but I don't want to necessarily do that today. Um, but I wanted to give you guys a baseline of what this channel's about. There's police here. That's kind of ironic. Look, there's police pulling up. Where'd you fart at? Were you in like a store? See, I deal with that shit. When I work in my store, people do some stuff fart, and I'll look at them and like, what the fuck was that? What are you doing ripping ass in front of me? Yeah, see, I work at a big chain store that's called Costco, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people. So you'll hear people burping or farting, and it's sometimes like when you're standing there, because all I do at my work is I hand out samples to people. So when they do shit like that, I'll like look at them and be like, "What the hell?" This is actually something crazy that happened the other day. I didn't get to tell you guys about this. So I was at work, and this dude fell down and he broke his teeth out and broke his nose on the concrete outside of my work. I make weird faces all the time. I got a weird face. Yeah. So it was pretty crazy to watch because I literally went out to go take a vape break. Um, I was on my 30-minute break, and I look over, and the craziest part about the whole situation is the dude had so much adrenaline going through his body that when he stood up, he started laughing hysterically. Like he was laughing his ass off at the fact that he fell and broke his teeth out. It was the weirdest thing that I ever seen because I'm seeing blood drain down his face, and he's laughing hysterically like he went psychotic or something for a minute. It's like he rang his bell. And what do you mean? No, I see your chat right now. Did you say something before? Yeah, we're definitely seeing your pictures. But no, it was weird. Like when he fell and hit his face, like I expected him to stay down. He did not. He got right back up and started laughing. The ambulance came and everything. They came and took him away. Can you hear me now? Oh, you have to go? You still can't hear me? Well, all right. Now you can hear me? It's because my mic died. When I have my plug-in in, it won't make sound. It was because my mic on my hat died, so now it's just regular audio. But so I'm given that fact that my mic died, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jump off here too. I will be back on again tomorrow, same time. One thing I do want to have you guys do is on the chat tomorrow. Sorry. On the chat tomorrow, I want you guys to give me ideas of different things that you can that we can do on this channel that you guys would be interested in seeing. But so on that note, I love you guys. I will catch you again tomorrow. I love you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for all the love. Life on Two Wheels, I love you. Elsie, I love you. Circuit, I love you.